And good afternoon. Welcome to Wealth by Design here on Edge Radio Australia. It's the time every week where I catch up with this gentleman here. We're sitting nice and close and comfy today, actually.
Yes, well, the air conditioner's on, Aaron.
Oh, mate.
Might get a bit hot.
It might get a little hot in here, but we'll keep our decorum, I think. That's what we'll do. Hey, we've got a very special guest today, mate. And in fact, he is a long, long way away. In fact, I've got to press a couple of buttons to make him appear.
Okay.
I'm going to do it just like that, but I'll let you do the intro if I may.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's highly exciting opportunity to bring in our friend from New Zealand, Tim Baxter. And Tim owns a company called DefSafe. And DefSafe are one of our prize sort of partnership companies on our platform at Wealth by Design. Because as you know, Aaron, we've spent many time on this. We're about saving money.
Absolutely.
And making money.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to save yourself from being hacked through your website or get hammered by cybersecurity criminals,
yes,
then you've got to have the right cybersecurity protection. And
really
Tim's the man. Tim is he's the guy.
It's so true. I mean, this is a massive part of doing business today. We've got to be, really, really conscientious about this. And look, Tim is fantastic because he's got his absolute finger on the pulse on this one. So we'll throw to Tim. Great to see you, mate, all the way from New Zealand.
Great to see you both too. Good. How are you, Aaron? How are you, and Jeff? And may I say, season's greetings. It's getting to
season's
that time
greetings.
Of year.
Yes, absolutely, indeed.
Same to you, Tim. Nice to see you over there. You got your coat on. Must be a bit cooler over there in Auckland at the moment.
Actually, no, it's been a bit of a stinker. I'm in an air-conditioned room.
Oh, I do notice you're
the stinker here is 23 degrees.
Yeah.
24.
If it becomes too hot, just slip over there, play the piano for a couple of minutes. It'll calm you. You'll be fine.
Calming tunes.
So much to talk about today. I'm going to give you the keys here, Jeff. I mean, let's face it, you're the man who's, as I say, got such a great way of linking so many different businesses together. And before we do jump into this, I want to mention the fact that I was in your office just a few days ago with so many brilliant, amazing business people. All the tops of their profession, and it's so nice to see people you can trust, great people with ethics, all in the same room. It's a brilliant thing. So it makes me very comfortable knowing that, okay, if we're going to talk to Tim here, you're all the way over there in New Zealand. I know, mate, I know the quality that you are, because if Jeff's giving you the big vouch, you must be the best in the biz.
Yeah, well, without a doubt. I don't think Tim will be, have any comments contrary to that, Tim. So basically the short story, of course, is that we do have some fabulous businesses within our group under the Wealth by Design banner. And a common theme, of course, is that name. It's Wealth by Design.
Sure.
But one of the greatest risks to building up wealth, if you're a business person, is actually copying major fines or being hacked or I mean, even our business was we had a weak link in our system. We had about 10 computers and one of them wasn't set up correctly, and we got the cybersecurity sort of $20,000 Bitcoin sort of threat. Thankfully we had good systems in place, and that we weren't we didn't lose all of our data because they threatened to take all our data.
Well, yeah.
And so there's a variety of businesses. Wealth by Design, of course, are delighted to have Tim involved with us, because there are so many different facets to building up wealth, and business owners need to extract plenty of cash out of their businesses to build their own private wealth, pay off their houses, educate their kids. Contribute to super and et cetera, so they're for self-funded retarees. And that's why we'd have general insurance brokers as part of our operation, finance brokers, financial planners, et cetera. But of course, unless you have blocked all the holes when it comes to risk, there's an issue.
Of course there is.
And with Australia's stats, and I got these from Tim sort of in our last time we had Tim on as a guest, I think Tim will correct me, but I think it's 300,000 or 400,000 average cost to Australian businesses once they've been attacked with cyber crimes. Like they're the fines, the ransom notices, all this sort of stuff. And I think it's around about 4 million per business on average in the States. In the US.
It's
just outrageous.
It really is outrageous.
Yeah.
And that's their amounts that would completely just stifle a business. I mean, it could end a business.
Sends businesses broke. And so Tim was on about a month ago because we had the education product that Tim markets, which is a a subscription per user that employers subscribe to Tim's company, and instead of just having the cyber manager or the cyber security manager in the company as the employed guy to save everything, save the day, Tim's company now has tools that these employers can purchase or subscribe to that make all the employees the frontline soldiers,
right,
to try and protect their employer from being hacked or getting into strife.
Yeah. Now, before we went on air, actually, we were just having a quick little talk about one of your products, Tim, which I'm sure you'll get to. I'm going to assume it's something that's very strongly linked to AI, and I actually found that the whole thing very reasonable. When you look at the cost of doing business, geez, the cost of actually having that protected. I think AI has made a big difference here because you can bring the cost down but still get the great protection, right?
Yeah, dead right. Yeah, that's a question from one of our clients.
Actually. Oh, okay, there we go.
Today. Yeah, so we'll get on to that in a minute. But Tim's new product, we're highly excited to announce today, is actually one that is a scanning technology.
Right.
So if you talk to any IT professional, they'll go, "Yep, a risk is a business's website." Because some of these websites, or nearly all of them, have defects, and hackers can get through into the website, into your business. And I'm only guessing that if you've got a payment solution linked into your website, and there's holes in that security side, well, maybe they could get into your bank accounts and do all sorts of data stuff. So, but we'll get Tim to talk about that in a minute.
Well, Tim's probably the man who's qualified for the job on that one.
He is. So Tim, look, we've done a bit of promoting of this show before today, and we've had a few characters come back with a few questions, which I'll got a list of them here. But we might just let you launch into giving us an overview of your website scanning technology that you've just starting to launch now.
Yeah, sure. And I'll share some stories with you too, things that you'll know about, but I'll share some stories about big hacks that have occurred using very sophisticated companies with very sophisticated IT systems, and people getting through those systems and being able to still hack those entities. So it's a really different world we have now. Everyone's online. Everybody's got some sort of front-facing retail side of their business, and it's like, if you think of it as a shop front, it's basically a digital shop front.
It is.
And I've certainly worked in the area of pickup and delivery and such like over many years. So I've seen, that you've got a transition of business from bricks and mortar very much to having an online presence, but some of them come from the bricks and mortar mentality. And so because they come from the bricks and mortar mentality, this new online world is and where everything is internet facing, is a bit of a challenge for some of the business owners and also for the staff who are working within those environments. So the scanning solution, go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
I was just going to very quickly say, I think you're bang on the money there. Coming from bricks and mortar business, you do think a lot of businesses will go, "Oh, we have to have a website." Like it's just, it's an annoying kind of thing that we've got to have. But it is in today's world. This is the front of your shop. This is the glass looking in, right? And you're looking at the showroom. And unfortunately, some people who might be a little bit more nefarious than others are looking through that glass with very different intentions. So you have to have that mentality. This is your business. You're looking at it. It is not something that's just, I have to have it because I've got to attach it to an email address. This is the modern way of business. Whether you have a bricks and mortar business or just purely an IT based one, the reality is all of us are linked that way.
And to draw the parallels there, it's obvious, isn't it? You've got a liquor store and you've got bollards out the front. So
that's right.
And you've got bulletproof glass. And so why wouldn't your website be in the cyber security front shop?
That's a great analogy. I love that. And a liquor store is a pretty simple analogy. I mean, they still have all of the precautions because people are trying to get in. So, they're doing the best they can to keep them out. Now, bollard's not going to keep out a sophisticated person, but it'll keep out the average guy's RAM rating. That's probably good enough. Well, at least it's a good start.
It's a good start.
So the scanning systems fit into that because you've got this front-facing shop, And maybe you built your front-facing shop 3 years ago. And as a result of building it 3 years ago, what you've got is perhaps slightly old technology. Since the day you first built it, you've connected a whole range of other suppliers, services to that front-facing website. Or maybe you have them in the back end. So what happens is if someone gets in the front end, they can also attack your back end,
sure,
which is where all the gold is kept. So the scanning solution is designed to make it accessible, for all businesses. And I think that was our key. We wanted to develop a powerful scanner. It's actually a triage of scanners. It's not just one scanner. One scanner won't do the job, but it's actually 3 scanners. And we're in the process of adding a 4th one just to give us a bit more depth. But it's a triage of scanners that all work together to analyze the perimeter of your business and then give you a meaningful report that shows you in what I call English, not IT speak, it's just plain English, what the problems are. And then it gives you the fixes that you need to make to increase your security on your website. And any front-facing URL that is internet live, it'll scan. And
I really appreciate that, because so much when I deal with anything IT, it's completely out of my wheelhouse. So I really appreciate when it's in everyday language, stuff that I can understand. We're all good at our particular fields. IT is not my field, right? So the great thing about getting an expert in there is great. They can solve the problem, but there's nothing worse than feeling disattached from that. Having someone who will speak to you in real English, okay, explain it clearly. It's a big deal, mate. I appreciate the fact that you make that a priority. Yeah,
no, we do. And we also simplify it. The great thing about AI is it can process massive amounts of data.
Yeah.
So it can do the job of analyzing a huge amount of scanning data and bringing it into we have a proprietary mechanism of doing this, but bringing it into a distilled format. So you get a little summary, as opposed to all of the noise that when you look at all this data. And
so a summary is a very powerful thing.
Yeah. I mean, look, the scanning solutions that we're using are not new in terms of, we use the most tried and true methodologies. But what we do is we triage and put scanners together so that we get a huge amount of data. And that is relatively unique. And that's why it is the DefSafe scanner. And to use it is very simple. So all you do is go onto our website. You have to pay a subscription fee. Put your URL in. The URL is your www.loveyoulongtime.com. and then you put that in there. And then you can immediately just push the button and do a scan. So you can have all the detailed scanning data. But then you go, no, actually too much. I just want an AI analysis. It'll analyze all of that data. It'll give you a summary of all of that data and give you the most important things to increase your score so that, you're in a position where you can fix your website. So.
Fantastic. So, Tim, these management systems product providers, MSPs, is that what they are? These businesses that
MSPs, yep. Great people who provide third-party services, basically.
There's a lot of those, and we're talking to a couple of those providers here in Perth, actually, to be represented on our platform, because they've come in and done work for us, and they've checked our systems out and told me what I'm doing wrong and providing some solutions to get things fixed, but not websites. And so I want to go back to these guys and go, look, our mate Tim from Auckland with DefSafe, he's got this new technology. I'd like to be able to go back to those fellows and say, look, would your clients like to be supplied this service via them? So Fred, the MSP guy, he goes, here's a great product from Wealth by Designs provided by these guys in New Zealand.
Right.
But if it digs up a whole bunch of holes in their website that need to be fixed, that are cybersecurity risks, then I'd like to think that these guys could get a whole lot of work off the back of that. Does that sound about right, Tim?
Well, yeah. I mean, we don't do that. I'm in the business of creating scalable products, but we're not fixing the individual minutiae of different companies. But certainly that's what an MSP will help with. And
so that's good.
No, that really is.
Just finds the problems that they can get a job by fixing the problems.
Absolutely.
After it's been identified by Tim's product.
Any of these situations, okay, everybody needs to win. Now let's look at this realistically. Okay. Now, ultimately the customer is the winner here because they've got a product that's protected them. They're also now aware of the gaps in the system, the problems that may occur. Okay. And then you're linking to people together who will actually be able to solve the problem. So everybody's covered here. Yeah. I think any great problem in the world, everybody needs to walk out of it a winner. And this to me, that seems very much the case. And I actually like the fact that you don't cover that side of the business. I think that, to be absolutely frank, I love the fact that you're able to focus on what you do very, very, very well. And because the threats change all the time. This is not a product you make once, I would assume. This is something you have to work out constantly. Am I right?
Oh, it'll evolve. Absolutely. And the risks evolve. So you can't just, example, you scan your website once and then you realize you've got, a few holes in the fence.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity to fix those. And then next month, you do something different. You add a few things on, you upgrade, you do some interesting new solution bolt-ons. You've got more problems that have just occurred then. So you want to scan once, understand, fix some of those issues, and then do constant scanning when new threats emerge. And that's what our solution does. You literally plug it in. All you do is put your URL in it, and then it'll proactively send you reports. You can program, if you want them every day, you could have it every day, but I personally wouldn't. I'd go, once a week, I'd want to have a decent scan. As a business owner, I'd want to know that my assets were in good shape and give me a proactive opportunity to fix them.
Well, that makes sense because we Trend Micron, right, for our laptops and our other computers. And it's a proprietary software we subscribe to.
Okay.
And it checks our hard drive of our computers to see if there's any dodgy malware or viruses or whatever.
Sure.
But of course, I've never thought of a bloody website.
No, you don't. You just don't.
Just scans the website, the shop front to your business.
Yeah. Well, this is the front door, right? I mean, honestly, when we leave this, studio every day, the locks go on, the alarm goes on, all of that sort of thing, right? You do all the things to protect the safety of it. Well, it makes complete sense on your electronic and your IT side. You should be locking everything and putting the alarm on there as well.
Yeah, too right. Hey, Tim, you were mentioning examples of hacks and some real live examples before. Can you share some of that with us?
Well, I'll give you. Firstly, I'll give you something that happened to me. Started yesterday, happened today, and then I'll give you something very, very interesting on a Australian context. But I had someone do a scan yesterday, and there's someone I know, and they said to me, can you help me out scan this website? So I did, and there were a bunch of holes in it. And this guy's an IT professional. He's data scientist, so he's someone who really knows what he's doing.
Understands it. Yeah.
Now he kind of knew that he had these problems, but he was too busy. He had other priorities, and he went, "Oh God, no one's going to know anyway." I mean, and so this was confidential, the discussion. No one's picked up on it. No one understands enough to really even bother too much. So then anyway, I raised the report, and he went, "Oh God, now it's been identified." And as a result, he said, "Right, I'm going to go and fix it." So he fixed it in 45 minutes.
Right.
Now he changed his security rating. We have a DefSafe security rating. So as a result of the scan, you get a score.
Mm-hmm.
He started off as a D, but within 45 minutes he'd moved up to a B+.
Right. I couldn't do that at school, trust me.
That was pretty good, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I was really impressed, and he said to me, Tim, I love this. He said, could you do me a favor because I want to be an A+. Can you give me a really detailed view of a couple of things that were sort of not as detailed as he liked? And so that was an interesting story. It doesn't take much. If you have the data, it doesn't take much to get yourself a posture of security.
And AI is part of this, Tim. This is probably it's still part of the AI world, isn't it? Because that's helped collect the data so quickly and provide a succinct report so quickly, identify problems so quickly.
It's such a positive.
Because it can process so much data so quickly.
Yes.
We can do these scans individually, and we've done them for years. I've been using some of these scans, but you need to have a broad range of scanners because there's a broad range of attack surface. So you need to add a lot in there to make it work.
A broad range of attack surface.
Funny enough, Mum Tim actually said that. I think about, it's such a good point. You don't think of it that way. You don't think about the level of surface of vulnerability you've got, right? There's so many layers. I mean, when you're talking about a website here, it's not just the front page here. There's so many pages, front and back. The surface that you've got, that you're vulnerable for attack is really quite large.
Yeah. So Tim, would this be constitute maybe contributing to the need for constant scanning? A WordPress site constantly has plugin updates.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure I've got those terms right. Where some of the software that help you build the website, because a web developer, they might use different types of language.
Of course.
But WordPress is a very common one.
It's the most popular, I think.
I think it is. Yeah. And then WordPress I think have plugins, but those plugins are like software updates, and they happen automatically.
Yeah.
Is that something that could constitute, Tim, a need for constant scanning because the plugin might not work correctly or something like that?
I mean, you'd want to scan it. You'd want to scan it initially, and rarely does a website not get updated. Everyone's always constantly working on new products or new features. I mean that's a classic example, I think, Jeff. And there's a lot of people. You get so many people who go, "Oh, I want to build a website because I got this new business," and they go, "Oh, I know somebody," and this person, has built lots of websites, and they're cheap, mate. You get a good website for, I reckon, 15,000. You can get it sorted out for. And you go, "Oh yeah, great. Well, 15,000, that's better than the other guy quoted. He quoted me 52. And you go ahead and do it. But what are you getting? Do you know what I mean? Like you actually don't know what you're getting.
This is perfect timing on this point, because I have something I'm about to click on here. A great comment from Lisa, because this is the question everybody's asking. Okay, how much does it cost? Because look, it doesn't. Cost and value are two very different things here, and the value to your business and the protection that you're getting, and what the potential you could lose. You got to look at the value. But let's talk about the cost. Shall we do that, Tim?
Yeah. So to use our product on an ongoing basis is $50 a month.
What?
God,
$50 a month.
$50 a month.
Are you kidding me?
US dollars. So just putting that into perspective, that's about $80.
Okay.
For a single user just to go on and use that service. So that's what it costs. That's what we can produce it for.
There we go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's just cheap.
We spend more on coffee, mate.
Okay, so that's US. That's $50 US a month subscription.
Yep. And then what you get from that? Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Month subscription, or they sign up for an annual subscription? How does it work?
You can go monthly, but annual is the best way to go for sure.
Yes,
and
get a discount.
Yeah.
And you needs to be. It's so cheap. It needs to be part of your overall office management system. Your IT management, because the senior responsible person, or even the responsible junior in the business, could run this as a regular part of their KPIs, right? They could just do it once a month or once a week.
Yeah, I just have a counter on that one, which is, you wouldn't want for this kind of data, it's powerful data. It's showing you where the holes are in the fence. So
That's
I wouldn't be sharing it around the business too much. You know, it's one of those things that you'd go, okay, your IT manager needs to know. You need to know if you're a business owner. But I actually wouldn't, unless it's a very trusted employee, I wouldn't give that data unless I was really sure of their confidentiality, because it's powerful data.
Dead right. Yeah, good point.
But I do take your point, and I think you're bang on there. I mean, it is, Tim, I'm genuinely very, very surprised by that. I thought it'd be about 2.5 times that, right? So I see great value, and to me, I mean, what the protection you're buying there for that amount, it's a no-brainer. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, to have somebody who has that as, this is simply one of their tasks in their weekly, of everything that they go through weekly, right? Okay.
Yep.
I think that's a brilliant way to do it. That way you're keeping on top of it. You're making good value out of the product that you've bought. And yes, you're on top of any issue before it becomes a major one.
Dead right. Yep. Prevention is better than cure.
No, don't doubt about it.
Yeah, that's right, 100%. And it's just proactive prevention. And that's why the training dovetails into the scanning product, because you want to protect the fence. And of course, now you've got the fence protected, hopefully. And then you want to make sure that everybody's trained, because if they're all trained and they're all in a position where they can help protect the fence, and everyone's effectively forming a human shield around the business and looking out for vulnerabilities and looking out for any adverse activity, then you're not all the way there. There's a lot more to do, but you're protecting the very vulnerable area.
Yeah, this sort of interconnects actually with so many of our clients. They've all got websites, they've all got shop fronts, but also, I think even when Tim was on last time, we spoke about our friend who was the cybersecurity manager for BHP for about 8 years.
Right,
a really good operator, right? Serious, and he was explaining to us, especially given that we've got a lot of crypto clients.
Yes.
Very good on one of our crypto platforms, but he was explaining that one of the biggest risks with people buying crypto on crypto platforms is those crypto platforms get hacked.
Right.
Yeah. So a crypto platforms, Tim will correct us, but it's a website, isn't it, Tim? It's a crypto platform's a website, isn't it? You go on.
Okay. So they have a front-facing section. Yes, absolutely. And then in the background, there are a huge number of processes that hopefully are there that then protect those cryptocurrencies.
Okay. So when I looked at CoinMarketCap the other day, there was 750 exchanges. So here's a question for you. Would all those exchanges need this product?
For their websites? If there is no website in the world I could think of that shouldn't run a scanning product of some description across their website, I couldn't think of any reason why anyone would do that. Would not do that.
The application for this is enormous. There must be hundreds of millions of websites.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. Now, I'll just take this opportunity, if I may. We've got a few comments and questions coming through, so I just want to run through a few, if I may. Now, a few has actually come through. What does it cost on average from a relatively small business breach? Are we talking thousands? Are we talking, what's the average?
Yeah, well, I quote from KPMG, who did a report on this in 2023. And the average cost to a small business is about $400,000.
Right. Okay. I mean, and that's the end of a lot of businesses. A lot of businesses. That's
a lot of businesses.
Yeah. And a point here from Barry. Barry's a very, I do actually know Barry's work. He's a very talented broadcaster. Now, he's put the trouble with government KPIs is they often the KP the wrong thing, which I tend to agree with him on this one. But this is an interesting thing that I hadn't even thought of until I saw Barry pop up there. Okay, for people who aren't necessarily even in a business that's generating money, we could be talking about a media entity, for argument's sake. Yeah, something, it could be as small as it could be a community radio station, right? And you think about the fact of that can be breached as well. Anybody basically who has a website, anybody who has a page out there, they are hugely vulnerable. So this is a cheap insurance policy. And I bring up the point of a community agent radio station as an example, because there is vulnerable information there on all of those people who are part of that organisation. So that leaves them open. And these days of so many security threats, so much of identities being stolen, that kind of thing. I mean, I would tend to think like this is more than dollars and cents. This is people's privacy on other levels as well. I tend to think anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And within people's websites, there's a lot of stuff that is valuable. Some of it is information, some of it is money, some of it is business disruption. People, there's some bad players out there who just want to cause you drama for the sake of causing you drama. And there's a lot of people who want ransomware to give you back the rights to have the keys to your business. So if you can avoid it, it's a very good idea.
Funny enough, I think you've just answered Lisa's question there. What's the worst thing that can happen if you leave the holes? I mean, you've just gone through some great reasons or some terrible reasons, depending which way you look at it.
Yes.
Things that you need to be aware of and protect against.
Well, there's been some monsters, hasn't there? I mean, Medicare Private. I mean, big logistic companies. There's been so much. I think there's a website.
Well, that's great you mentioned that. Yeah. I was going to talk about DP World. Is that the logistics company you're thinking of? The Australian logistics provider DP World?
Possibly. I saw a website recently. It was sent to me, and it was a list of all the major hacks in Australia that had Medicare and a big logistics company and a whole. I was staggered by the names of the businesses that have all been hammered.
Oh, when you look at this site, I know the one you're talking about, it is terrifying. It's not like, in our minds, and certainly what we see through the mainstream media, you kind of think, a couple of biggies have been broken. No, this is a massive thing that I think the last time, and we checked last year, it was kind of about, I think it was 400 odd breaches in the first few weeks of the year. Like 400 odd breaches. So literally over the space of the year, we're talking about getting into well and truly into the thousands.
And I think the government, Australian government, someone will correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure. There's plenty of people listening here at the moment, that they've made it compulsory as a registered business in Australia. If you don't report to a central government reporting agency that you've been hacked by cyber crooks, then it's a breach in itself.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I wonder if Tim knows anything about that.
Tim?
Well, they set up I don't know if it's mandatory, but there is. You're meant to advise.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, it's a real issue.
There's a lot of questions here. We've basically got them on the screen, and obviously the ones that have come through in the week. We really appreciate this. Such a big thing that we love about Edge is we're interactive. Okay, this is the great way of you being able to access experts like yourself, Tim. So everybody who's sending the questions through, really appreciate that. All right, what else have you got there?
Okay,
mate?
So I've got one here. Can you explain the specific types of threats that the scanning solution is designed to detect?
Okay.
Yep, sure. I mean, so without going into too much sort of technical parlance, you've got configuration issues. That's a major part of it. You've got add-ons, bolt-ons. They're another part of it. Effectively, there's about 4 primary problems that come up again and again and again in any sort of website development, or at least flaws.
Rightio. Got another one here for you, Tim. What sets DefSafe apart from other cybersecurity tools in the market? Because I was talking to a chap today who is an MSP provider, and he said, can you get a report for me? I'll be able to compare it against something that we offer our clients for free.
Okay.
Right. So the simple answer is it's accessible. I think that's what we've done. We've created a very accessible the ability for people to cheaply and easily do a quick scan on their own website without having to get an MSP, without having to get anybody.
How good's that? That is so bloody obvious, right?
That's the first thing that appealed to me, mate. When
it's in-house, you don't have to wait for the MSP to come up and do a scan for you. He might never turn up.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. You've got control of your own destiny there. Okay, you can type it in, and I love the ease of use. I think that's a really big thing to be having that. It's there. It's in the computer. Boom, boom, boom. Type in the email address, not email address, the web address.
Email every whatever you want.
How good is that? Well, look, let's face it, we've become creatures of laziness when it comes to, we need things to be nice and easy. Actually, laziness is probably a bit unfair. We're so incredibly time poor. This is why Yeah, we lean so much on apps and things that we need it and we want it instantaneously, because I can only throw a couple of minutes at this. Now, as a business owner, throwing a couple of minutes at your safety and keeping the doors locked to your bank accounts, to your information, this is something it's a very, very, very big important issue. And the fact that you can condense it and make it a relatively quick, well, it sounds like extremely quick process, massive advantage. Really, really big thing.
Well, can I get another one in?
Go for it. Absolutely.
So under a strategic approach heading here, someone's come in with, how does DefSafe ensure its solutions stay relevant in a rapidly changing threat to the landscape? Because it's moving all the time.
It is. Very good point.
Back to you, Tim.
Yeah, well, I think you know that's part of the reason we've used AI to build everything, is because we needed to be nimble, and you know, even you look at the trainings, the reason, you know, we don't use live actors and things in training is because it's not nimble. When we need to update something, you know, for me to update a video would take no time. I mean, within an hour, I could create, you know, an entire program on a new form of intrusive malware that is infecting computers. I could do that in an hour. Now, curating it is a little harder. I have some very, very good people who do some curation for us. By that, I mean making sure that the product is absolutely functionally perfect and factually perfect. And then our engines literally will just create the training within no time frame. You could have it literally. You could ask me to make a training on anything you wanted. Within an hour, I could have it online and sitting there for you.
That quickly.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive, mate. I've got a questions coming up from Tim, which I haven't even seen yet, but it looks very detailed. So let's have a bit of a look. So, sorry, from Phil, rather, for Tim.
Yeah, from Phil.
Now, can you see that question there at all, Tim, or not? Would you like me to read that out for you?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic. Okay, so we've got, hey Tim, can I assume that once I have done the scan, rather, I can look it up the related security training modules that does the scanner recommend what training is involved with utilizing the scanner?
Well, the great thing about this scanner, because we've done all the hard work in the background, right? We've built the triaging of scanners, and we built the reporting that comes out, and also the fixes that come out, and that's the beauty of it. So for someone who is, let's say, a professional, has advanced IT knowledge, you know, those people can delve further. Certainly, you can delve into what is included in each scan. You know, what areas we are scanning, etc. It's all on our website. Okay. But as far as using it goes, you know, I'm designing stuff for users. It's got to be dead simple. I mean, I learned a long time ago, if you can make it look easy, you win. Absolutely. So all you do is plug in your URL. That's it. Just type it in. You just go, I want a scanner. And then you've got to subscribe, and then you put in your website, and everything just goes automatically from there. You've got a couple of decisions to make: how often you want to scan and how many reports you want to receive. But you can choose all of those things, and then you go push go.
Righto.
Tim, I had to do some IT stuff today, right? Just this morning, honestly, that should have been so incredibly simple. And by the time you go through all the different pathways and all, it made it into it just made it into a 40-minute experience, right? Which it should have been 3 minutes. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm a big fan of making it simple. I love software that you could just, you know, click, especially something that's so important that you want to do often. If it's a big palaver, you don't do it, do you? Right? It's a quick thing. You jump straight.
No, there's too much pushback.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll jump in. Any other questions here?
Well, yeah. I mean, I know with Tim's DefSafe product that we bought on 3 weeks ago, which was the staff educational subscription.
Yes,
where all the staff are frontline soldiers, basically.
Yeah.
Tim, you said that there was a multilingual format for that last product. Is the same today, like up to 40 languages or something with this?
Yeah, look, we're not up to 40 languages at this point, but what we've done is so we perfected the English. You know, I think we're there on English now. We've got another 100 courses in English sitting in the background, ready to go. Okay. We have done Portuguese, because a lot of my team speak Portuguese. So we have a Portuguese version of everything. And we had Portuguese customers, based in Brazil and such like. And some of them are very significant, actually. You'd be very surprised how large some of the businesses in Portugal are, in Brazil are. Yep. And then so with the training, what we'll do is we'll get Portuguese done. To do Portuguese, we had to build the engines that do the translations.
Okay. Yeah.
So once we are fully happy, we've launched Brazil, Portugal, then the next step is Spanish, and we already have started Spanish. So we'll go Spanish, and then we'll go French, because of course we're going to cover the majors.
Yes.
And then Indonesian, because we want to do. I have a personal love of Indonesia, and so we want to do the Indonesian language next, and then from there our engines will do it so quickly that it'll just be very, very quick after that point, and that will include the scanners, that will include the scanning data. Everything will be translatable just by clicking a button, and that'll happen within 3-4 months.
Oh, that quickly.
Okay. So that's imminent. That's first quarter next year.
Very good to hear. Now, we're running out of time, unfortunately, gents. So can I probably throw to yourself, Tim? Is there anything you'd like to sort of wrap things up with?
Yeah, look, probably if I was saying anything, I'd say, make sure you give it a go. Like if you're a business, give some of this a go. Don't just think it won't happen. Because if you do nothing, and recently I had a conversation, 10% of businesses approximately have cyber insurance.
Right.
If something goes wrong. Now that's not a lot. It's about 10%. Now I don't have any absolute certainties on that number, but I have industry professionals in the business telling me that that's about it, because they can't get cybersecurity insurance. It's too expensive or it's too hard.
Right. Okay.
So if you don't have cybersecurity insurance, well, this is a very good way of just making sure you've got a few steps in place. So if you don't have it from us or someone else, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Just take some basic steps.
It's a form of self-insurance.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. I completely agree. You've got so many questions there, mate. I'll tell you right now, we're trying to fire through them.
We'll have to get Tim back.
We can. It's absolutely wonderful to see people actually laying questions on right now as we speak. Yep. I can actually see that on the back screens that we can't even see. There's a heap of questions coming through too.
Yep.
So my word, we're going to get a few for next time.
So what we can do, Tim, can we, if we collate all these extra questions, what we'll probably do is just shoot them over to you.
Sure.
We'll develop a form or something that can,
it's a good idea,
or a Q&A or something, and we'll just put it up on our Wealth by Design website, and we'll promote it from there.
Absolutely.
That's probably the way to go. We'll send them directly to you, whatever's easy.
Yeah, no, sure. Of course. And my team, I'll get my team onto it because a lot of them are far smarter than me. And so I'll make sure you get the right answers to everything.
Very much so. But no, a smart man surrounds himself with smarter people. Okay, trust me on this one. Hey, it's been a pleasure, mate. Always a pleasure. Really love talking to you, Tim. I really do, because you again for me, who's not an IT guy, so often when I talk to IT people, I don't know, look, the screen comes down. I'm not going to lie, okay? Start talking all the technical jargon, whatever, I'm falling out of my words here. And I literally I'm out of my space there, right? I love the fact when you talk to Tim, it is everyday Aussie language, or in this case, semi-Kiwi language, because I can understand it, I can relate to it. I can think, okay, I can make this work for me. Yeah. So thank you very much for it makes a very big difference to how we go about things. So appreciate it.
Nothing easier than grabbing a URL and plugging it in. And going click.
If I can manage that, we're doing all right.
You could
Fantastic.
do that.
Absolutely.
You can do that.
All right, we're going to call it a show. Thank you very much to everybody who's been watching online, all the wonderful questions that have come through, all the questions that we'll deal with through the next week. This has been, of course, Wealth by Design here on Edge Radio Australia.
Thank you, Tim.